I have been making One Piece videos since 2015 and been following the series for over a decade, and I say this not to brag or anything, but more so to say how invested I am in Ichiro Oda's amazing work. So I thought today, let's be honest here, you guys all saw the title, reading One Piece final saga leaks is just crazy for any diehard One Piece fan, and I personally am gonna put you guys through my mindset. I did not want to read it, but after talking to some fellow YouTubers and asked around, like my guy BD Allah, who's doing big things on his channel, and Pharaoh Space, those are some of my guys from back in the days. They do really good content, of course. They believe it's BS, and I agree. I do think it's BS too. While even a new content creator, one of my guys too, Zaki01, who's been dropping some crazy videos like his Dragon Logia theory. You guys definitely gotta check out that channel and that video. He's a new up and coming YouTuber. I respect it. He advised me not even to read it, because let alone make a video on it, because after reading it for myself, I personally believe this is some BS, but there is some things that are really spooky when it comes to the information. Now, I personally want to debunk it, so that's why I'm diving in. And yeah, there's stuff that's believable, but after I go through everything, you guys can make up your own mind. But of course, warning, if you don't even want to risk seeing the end of One Piece, like honestly, I suggest you just leave, because I know a lot of One Piece fans are like that. Me personally, I do read spoilers for the chapter, but I don't want to read the final saga spoilers. I still want to, how do I say this, go it from one chapter to one chapter. So I'll tell you guys right now, it was very scary reading this leak, and at a lot of moments where I was like, what the flying, but then a lot of moments I'm like, okay, this can't be true. So let's do a deep dive and let's stop all the fluff. You guys always say LegendMac does the fluff. No more fluff. Let's go. Psych, I lied. I'm just kidding. But honestly, check out my One Piece video I did on Dripco, that power scaling channel. It's about which characters could be a Yonko. You guys been showing a lot of love to that channel, but definitely don't want you guys to miss any content I post there, because I put so much effort. It's kind of like my main channel, even though this channel is way bigger, because I believe that channel has so much potential when it comes to just having a library of power scaling One Piece videos. So definitely check out that video, guys, I just dropped. You'll see it. Mark as a thumbnail. So the first leak is Frankie, and it's not really that super. Okay, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I'm actually gonna do no more jokes. Let's just dive into it. Frankie is about to eat Kuma's Delve Fruit ability. So it's assumed that Kuma dies, and the Delve Fruits of Frankie, Jewelry Bonnie, which we know is age manipulation, and Luffy can be used together to time travel 900 years into the past. Which, first things first, I'm gonna keep it real with you. This first leak is believable, because Luffy's Gear 5th awakened mythical zone Nika is imagination. He's making sunglasses out of his hair. Then Bonnie, we see her age manipulation locks, like rust locks, age manipulation to make yourself stronger and distorted past and distorted futures, and age manipulation to make you a kid or pretty much an old grand person. So definitely want to say Frankie with that Kuma, which sends you flying. It makes sense, but we've never seen someone do this, combine Delve Fruit abilities. We've seen combine homies like Big Mom's attack, so I think it's believable. This first part is believable. Now the next part is Luffy goes back in time and meets Joy Boy from before, because we all know Joy Boy's present time is Luffy. His name is Dryas, the Prince of the Ancient Kingdom. It looks like they're going off this Will of D stuff right here. Dryas, Will of D. Is the Will of D the same as the Will of Dryas? That's my question, but so far believable. It's not like 100% believable, but it is. I don't really see any debunking things so far. Now Dryas is Im-sama's younger brother, but there will be conflict because Im doesn't want Dryas to become the king. Im conspires with the 20 kings, potential Tenri Bateau, to destroy the large ancient kingdom and turn it into small islands, which personally I think it's believable because of the whole magnetic pull that we have on the Grand Line. It would make sense if the Grand Line was just a huge continent in the ancient kingdom. Now I do also want to say this, the Im-sama Dryas is connection to, of course, the whole Adam and Eve story, you know, Adam's sons. Now the next leak says there are 4 characters known as gods: the sun god Luffy, the rain god Monkey D. Dragon, the earth god someone from Figaro Land, not Blackbeard, and the forest god, a woman, not Admiral Greenbow. So this one personally is the first one where I really was like, it's kind of like a 50-50. It's kind of like a wobbler. I'm not too sure if it's true, if it's not true, but it's not having me like 100% believable like the other ones I read. So this is the first one that had me questioning. It was like the treasure of Mary Joas, a battery. Behind the large straw hat is a battery. The room is cold, so the battery doesn't leak. The Gorsei hates Sabo because he used fire in Mary Joa's, causing the temperature in the room to increase. The great battle begins with Blackbeard versus Shanks. Blackbeard, known as the King of Demons, will also go to Wano to get Pluton. The battle takes place on 3 fronts: Blackbeard, the Samurai, and the Marines. I'll tell you guys right now, this is very, very believable because Pluton at the end of Wano was a big, big development. Also, Caribou finding out about Pluton if he goes to Blackbeard. This is so believable because I believe Shanks will fight Blackbeard. And this whole Mary Joas and Sabo and the fire and the cold in the room and all that, believable. It's not debunkable. These are believable. The Marines are split into 2. The Sword, which is Drake, Kobe, and Hamepo. They betray the original Marines, which of course is Akainu's faction, and Akainu dies. Now, personally, I believe this is not really a leak. This is just common sense. We know this is dying. It's going to happen sooner or later. So that's how I see it. All of the powers of the Devil Fruits would disappear in the end. Luffy swims even though he still can't use his Devil Fruit abilities. Now, personally, I think it's believable. An ending where the Devil Fruit abilities disappear and Luffy swims. We all know that first chapter, Shanks wanted Luffy to swim. Like, that was a whole plot line in the first chapter. So this is believable. It's not like super believable, but it's not like crazy where like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Why can Momo talk to Zunisha? Why can Luffy hear Zunisha and the Sea Kings? Why can Luffy find the ancient rope on Egghead Island? Why did Dragon save Luffy from execution by Buggy? They're all connected by the lineage factor or DNA. This is the voice of all things. Now, personally, I think this is believable too, because the reason why I say that is because the voice of all things is something where we're seeing characters connected to it. Now, I think Vegapunk could be the one to explain it, but it's not debunkable. So far, we've only had 1 50-50, 0 debunkables, and all believables. The Void Century, the ship Uranus crashed into the ancient kingdom continent. A great flood occurred, the continent broke into islands, there was a lot of dust in the atmosphere blocking the sun rays. That was 100 years of cold darkness. The world's waited for the arrival of the sun god 900 years later. 50-50. Honestly, it's not super believable, but it's not something where I can just outright debunk. So that's my thoughts on this whole portion of the leaks. Shanks, a member of the Figaro Land family mentioned in the film Red. Like Doflamingo, Shanks is a Tenryubuto, but Figaro Land family status may be higher. 900 years ago, the Figaro Land family made him the king of the world. Now there's a Figaro Land, a relative of Shanks, who is known as the Earth God. Unfortunately, the Earth God has allied with the Im-sama. Believable because of the whole Shanks, Celestial Dragon meeting with the Gorsei, talk about a certain pirate. Believable. I won't say that's debunkable. It's believable. Finally, the long-awaited return of Enel. He was made a power plant by the world government to turn on Uranus, but he will also join Luffy's alliance. 50-50. Personally, him and now being used with the ancient weapon makes sense because his Delphi ability, lightning, a power source. I believe that part. The whole joining Luffy's alliance is where I'm really shaky on that, honestly. Then we have Big Mom and Kaido also join Luffy's alliance. Wait for it. Is Luffy's Delphi broken? Question mark. Is Luffy's alliance too large? Question mark. The enemies are more terrifying. Im plus Blackbeard plus the Earth God. Im can control the sea. He has Uranus and his friend the Earth God. He literally has the power of the sky, earth, and sea. Right here is where the first BS of the leak happens, because I don't see no future. Like, I don't care how much futures Ichiro draws in these SBSs. I don't see no future of Big Mom and Kaido joining Luffy's alliance. Yo, those characters are done. They're done. They're done. Big Mom might not be done, but Kaido is done. For the future of the story, I just don't see it happening. Several hundred years before the Void Century, the world was plagued by hunger, thirst, and cold. People from outer space, seeds of plant life from fairy birth to the earth. So people from outer space gave seeds of plant life from fairy birth to earth. Trees grew and people thanked and prayed to the tree. From people's hope, a magical fruit appeared. There were 4 fruits that appeared first. The 4 people who ate these fruits became known as the Earth God, Forest God, Rain God, and Sun God. Right here is another BS moment. I just don't see this happening, guys. It honestly just doesn't make sense to me. I believe this whole thing they're doing when it comes to this whole mythical thing is becoming more of a reach. Life in the world improved because of these 4 known gods, but people were never satisfied. Many types of fruits appeared: elemental fruit, animal fruit, and even a jacket fruit. That's pretty funny. Not all of these fruits were good, some were evil. The most evil was the Yami Yami no Mi, or perhaps we call it the king of demons. The user of the guardian fruit, for example Yamato's fruit, will fight against the user of an evil fruit, perhaps like Lucci. The 4 gods will defeat the king of the demons. Yes, BS, and BS. Honestly, this portion of the leaks just doesn't make sense to me. It is not even like a whole plot twist. I don't see it happen. Maybe if it's further explained, but these moments really make this whole leak unbelievable. After Egghead, we go to Elbaf, where many lores will be explained. There are many books, saved from Ohara. There's also the secret base of the marine scientist. There's a lot of research on devil fruits. One of them is True Awakenings, where some devil fruits can be combined. Kuma's fruit, which Frankie will later eat, Bonnie's fruit, and Luffy's fruit are combined. The result of that is Luffy time travels 900 years into the past. Now, I'm not going to say this is believable. I'm not going to say it's BS. I'm not going to say it's 50-50. This is just hype. I'm going to be honest with you. If they can combine the devil fruit abilities in time travel, when the whole time travel concept came into fruition with Momonosuke and Kinemon, I loved it. So if they can do it, it's going to cause a lot of complications, but it's just hype. It's not really a believable BS, the 50-50 situation. This is just hype. Vegapunk will upgrade the Sunny Go. Frankie is sad because the Ganon cannon is considered weak by Vegapunk. It will be upgraded using the Pluton blueprint. Chopper finally awakens properly, and Sanji can use King's Haki. Pretty much, it's believable. We know Frankie and Vegapunk are gonna have a relationship because of the whole time skip situation, and now it's happening in Egghead. Chopper awakening his fruit. He has 7 forms, for goodness sakes, yo. I don't mind. And Sanji using King's Haki, believable. He's a Pirate King top commander. He's a Pirate King wing. I don't mind Sanji having Conqueror's Haki. I honestly don't mind. He's a prince for all I care. He's actually inherited to be a king. During the Void Century, Im performs the Great Cleansing. Check chapter 1054. I think they're talking about when the island of okay, I'm about to stutter right now. Leloucha gets destroyed, but many are slaughtered. Joy Boy's era is defeated. Im's age is reduced, and then he receives the eternal youth surgery. Honestly, this is not really BS. It's pretty believable. The fact that they reference chapter 1054, it makes a lot of sense. Blackbeard wants to steal Pluton and Wano, but the Yami Yami no Mi can't absorb Pluton because it's coated by Sea Stone. Fujitora is also there. After talking to Aokiji, Fujitora decides to protect Pluton so that it won't be taken by the world government. Honestly, this is hype. The reason why, the first time I read it, I'll be honest with you guys, it was hype because I got chills. Blackbeard trying to take the ancient weapon and having a Sea Stone, countering Blackbeard's Delphoid ability, honestly is so hype to me. I don't know what it is, but that just gave me chills. So it goes back to the category of hype. It's not really believable or BS or a 50-50, it's just hype. Aokiji once met Dragon. The tattoo on Dragon's face symbolizes important things to him. There are 3 identical tattoo symbols with a square in the center and a square outside. The square in the center is the core. The square outside is his principle of protecting the core. The first core is related to the Ohara incident. This to me is a 50-50. Nothing more to be explained. It's not really seeming that believable, but it's not seeming like BS. So it's a 50-50 to me. Then also, the cold room in Mary Jo's is used to be cooled by a user of the Ice Logia. In addition to the battery mentioned earlier, there is also bodies of people who died in the war during the Void Century. The world used to be cold because of the dust in the atmosphere. Now the world is warming up again, so the room needs to be cooled again. When Aokiji is needed for this, he runs away. Another 50-50 situation to me because they're going towards this whole room, Ice Logia situation. Like, they're doing this whole thing where honestly it's not looking like this is the case. But I do want to say this, the whole Aokiji element, I don't mind it, but it's a 50-50. It's not BS to me, but it's a 50-50. Vegapunk joins the revolutionaries. He will make a Denden Mushi that is synchronized with his brain. Later it can be connected to other Denden Mushis. Vegapunk wants to announce something important to the entire world. Now this personally to me is very believable because I think Vegapunk can do anything. Yo, he's 500 years ahead of society. He's amazing. So that's the only reason why I think this is believable. Now we get to Akaino's flashback. And I'm gonna be honest, before I read this, this was something that I loved. In the West Blue, 55 years ago, there was an orphan living in a war zone. Every night his mother said that she loved her child. The child grew up being bullied and frequently robbed. He became increasingly angry and conspired with other children. The group of children fought and stole food to share with those in need. As his mother believed, the child believed that justice and goodness would always exist. If God didn't exist, he would uphold justice. But the people given food by the child betrayed his trust. They beat and kicked his mother. His mother lied on the floor or bled on the floor. There was also a newly seen dog doll that was to be given to the child, but now it is also bleeding. The red dog. Then the child carries his mother to the bed like she always did for him until she sleeps forever. Therefore, the child no longer believes in the goodness of people. What exists is only selfishness. He promises to uphold absolute justice and eliminate the source of evil. No matter how small it is, the child is now the Fleet Admiral, Akainu Sakazuki, the red dog. Hype and believable. This flashback was insane. I loved it. Now I think definitely there's some aspects to it that I think Ichiro will, honestly, he would have been more detailed with Akainu's upbringing, but for a base flashback, I really enjoyed this. Regardless if it's believable or not, it's hype. It's amazing. In the past, sailors who left their hometown would wave goodbye to their families at the port. The farther away they went, the smaller their home island became. The same was true for their ship. It became smaller and smaller until it had disappeared. All that was left was the sun. Near the end of the void century, Dryas, aka Joy Boy, said, "Look at the settling sun. When it rises again, we will be together again. Family, friends, food, laughter, and drink. The sun is like the straw hat I hold in my hand, isn't it? Question mark. Since then, the straw hat has been considered a symbol of the coming dawn. One day, the sun will rise again, similar to after darkness comes light." Believable, because it's really tying into what the straw hat is, and I enjoy that, so I think it's believable. Dryas' silhouette is similar to Luffy's. He also has a scar on his eye, but in a different position. 900 years ago, Luffy felt the presence of Im and vice versa. That was the first time Im felt two heartbeats that were exactly the same, probably something to do with observation haki. Dryas and Luffy. Luffy apologizes to Dryas for some reason. Luffy wears a straw hat, but his face is covered by a helmet. Im-sama sees Luffy's straw hat, but doesn't see his face. 900 years later, Im briefly thought that the figure in the straw hat was Shanks, who used to wear a straw hat. Believable. Another thing that's tying the straw hat into its importance, I've always said the straw is important. Go back to my channel, guys, The Secret of the Straw Hat, years ago. I've always felt like the straw hat is important, even before it was revealed in the cold room, so believable. Have you seen the cover story of Enel going to the moon? Question mark. There he meets space pirates who are allies or aliens resembling animals. There are species descended from the mink. In the past, when the mink wanted to go to Earth from the moon, aka Fairy Earth, they were given the baby Zunisha as a farewell gift. The mink come from the moon. Uranus also comes from the moon. I think this is believable because I can't lie to you, they're pretty much referencing the cover story, so that's why it's believable. I think if you reference something, it's more believable than actually not referencing anything. So honestly, I like it. I think it's believable. Uranus, a ship that can fly to the moon. Dryas, previous use of the mythical zone fruit. The four gods' power. Earth god to create, forest god to preserve, rain god for sustainability, sun god for life. Blackbird will fully awaken. After this, there won't be much left to be told. This is a little bit BS because it goes back to the main thing in the beginning of the video. I don't really mess with this whole mythological thing they're trying to go to. It's kind of like expanding on Luffy being, of course, Nika. I personally believe it's too much. It's too much. And the last point, the last leak before the last chapter, there will be a sad scene between Luffy and Law. Be prepared for characters who will die. The history of the log posts, the solar system model, Earth orbiting the sun, and the formation of Reverse Mountain plus the Grand Line plus Calm Belt will be explained by Vegapunk. I think this last leak is believable. Yeah, so honestly, this last leak is believable because it's referencing things that we've always wanted to know. Reverse Mountain, Grand Line, Calm Belt. If they just said the first line, Luffy and Law will have a sad scene, it's not believable. But I like they're expanding on it, so it is believable. So that's it. Honestly, I'll tell you guys the truth. LegendMac, I've been a fan of One Piece for so long, over a decade. I don't believe it, and you shouldn't too. It's a pretty good theory, but there are some major holes in this that just ruin everything. If they just took out those leaks, those BS moments, it would have been way more believable and people would have been making this such a big deal because it was going big on Twitter, but it didn't reach YouTube because a lot of people knew it was BS. I'm probably one of the few YouTubers to actually make a video on it, but I thought I would discuss it because I felt like after reading it, there was some cool things in there, but honestly, I don't think Oda will ever let someone actually post his final saga online after all the hard work he did. And knowing him, even if it was true, Eiichiro Oda would just change it because he never wants people to guess right. He even said that himself, word for word. But honestly, I think that this whole leak thing is BS, guys. So if you came to the end of the video and you're scared, oh my gosh, I read the final saga of One Piece, you didn't. There's still so much to be explored, and that's what this channel's for. Like and share if you enjoyed, like and share only if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the LegendMac, and I'm gone.